Welcome to the Equinety Podcast, where horse owners just like you share their incredible Equinety stories and how Equinety is changing their horses' lives. Whether you're searching for something to give your performance horse better focus, faster recovery, and more stamina, or in the extreme case where all hope seems lost, give your horse what it needs to help heal at a cellular level, you'll find it here. So jump in on today's episode to hear how Equinety is helping horses worldwide. Now, welcome your host, John Dowdy.
Hello and welcome to another Equinety Podcast, and this month we're in for a real special treat because we've got Roberta on out of Florida. Roberta, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Well, when you first reached out to us, you've got a 2,100-pound draft horse, 19 years old, I believe?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and one of your initial questions, you were quite a bit skeptical because you've tried lots of things, and I believe in your message you said, well, one more try couldn't hurt with something else.
That's true.
Yeah, and I hear you're glad you did.
Yes, very much so.
Awesome.
It's made a wonderful difference in him.
Good. So tell us a little bit about what was going on with Diesel, which is, by the way, a perfect name for a 2,100-pound
Yeah,
horse.
and he's jet black too, so it fits.
So what was going on with Diesel?
Well, he started out in a pulling competition in 2007, and he pulled numerous competitions here in Florida and up in New Hampshire and New York. Somewhere along the line, he stepped on himself at the coronet band, or his partner stepped on him and injured right at the coronet hairline. And ever since then, he chronically abscessed about every 3 to 4 months. Seemed like he would blow abscess right at the hairline. It would separate. It was awful. Of course, with that, he would be lame for anywhere from a week to 2 weeks till it would clear up and go away, and then he would be okay for a little while, and then he would continue to abscess again. This went years. For the past 4 years, I've been battling abscesses still. I had a vet come out. We x-rayed him. He showed signs of deterioration of the coffin bone. So my goal at this point now, I know that there's no healing that coffin bone, but to make him comfortable.
Right.
You know, at this point, just to make him comfortable so he can live out the rest of his days in retirement.
Sure.
So, like I've said before, I tried all kinds of stuff, and nothing seemed to work. I mean, I didn't see no difference. So, I saw your ad on Facebook, and I said, well, what's one more thing? Let's try this. And I'm so glad that I did.
Yeah, so you made your first order, I believe, right around January 1st of this year, 2019. So as of this recording, we are close to the middle of March. And what kinds of things have you seen since you started and now being almost 2.5 months in?
Well, within 2 days after I started the product, he was walking and taking normal steps. He wasn't limping, which was amazing to me because this poor horse has been so sore. Bute about every other day I was giving him prior. I stopped the bute and not giving him any bute.
And he's doing perfectly fine without
he's been great. The last couple of days here recently, probably a combination with the warm weather that we have here, has really got him shedding really good. Mm-hmm. I mean, I've just pulled gobs of hair off of him. Last summer, he did not shed all the way out. He had long spots, patches of hair on his body all summer long. He didn't shed. So I'm hoping that now, with the help of Equinety, that this is going to help him shed out and get his regular coat back.
Right. Yeah.
Which is what I understand is part of the Cushing's thing.
Right, which you suspect he might be on the front end of Cushing's.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Now, one of the initial questions that you asked me, and the reason I bring this up is because we do get this often, is you asked if you should give him 2 scoops because of his size. And what's really interesting about the Equinety product, ultimately what it's doing, it's targeting the pituitary gland, which is roughly the same size in mammals, whether it be a draft horse, tiny mini pony, or anything in between. So it's not based on the size of the animal, it's based on the size of the pituitary, which is about the size of a pea, even in dogs. So since you've started this, you've just been giving 1 scoop all along?
1 scoop, yes, sir.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's amazing. Now, there are times where we do recommend 2 scoops for competition horses or horses that are injured, because that helps with recovery and stamina and focus and things like that. But 1 scoop, and this is a prime example of how it's helped this little fella.
Yeah.
Now, what has your farrier commented any on what's going on with his hooves? I know you're battling with abscesses. How are those kind of seem to be doing these days?
The last time he was here a couple of weeks ago, and there was nothing obvious of anything that had been brewing here recently. He had 1 soft spot, and that was all he came across this time, which could be from an old one that just took some time to come out. He's had, oh goodness, the left front seems to be his worst. That seems to be his worst foot. But he's also blown abscesses on his back right that have been really just, so bad he wouldn't even take a step. It hurt so bad to see him. It just broke my heart. Terrible.
Right. And in your personal opinion, you believe since he's been on the Equinety, they're not showing or haven't really shown up, except this one could just now be exposing itself. But have you noticed a decrease in the abscesses, or just healthier all the way around there?
Definitely a decrease. He's been trimmed right down the sole. He's cut the good sole part of the foot off. Have not come across any soft spots or evidence of any bruising or anything in there for an abscess pocket.
Great.
It's been a really big difference, I think.
Yeah.
Considering what I was battling before, and it's been, what we say, 3 months now?
Yeah, about 2.5.
About 3 months. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So he was abscessed prior to starting Equinety. He was abscessed probably about 2 weeks prior to it.
Oh, wow.
So he would be right about now is when he would start to show signs and start blowing abscesses.
Right.
So he's coming right into it right now. So I'll have to keep you posted on that.
Absolutely. I'm sure everybody would love to hear an update on that. Now, one of the other things that you were able to use diesel for is, I guess he was highlighted in the Citrus Chronicle newspaper for a fundraiser that you do with the VFW?
Yes.
So
Post 4337 is the VFW in Inverness. I'm a member of there in the auxiliary, and we did a fundraiser for the kitchen to raise money for them to get a new stove. And I brought him down and set it up a corral down there for him, and people are just at awe when they see him because he's so big, and they stand there and they look up at him and going, wow, he's just so huge.
Right.
They say they hear draft horses, but a lot of people have never really been up close and personal to them. Mm-hmm. So it's really, it's warming to see the results that, people in reaction that people have. Sure.
Now, you also mentioned to me before we got on the podcast here, in the last few days, you've seen him kind of running around and feeling real good.
Yeah, he was walking to the barn, and it just totally blew my mind because I have not heard him do this in a long time. He let out a squeal and he actually jogged. And I just took a retake and looked, and I was like, oh my God, you must be feeling better.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, because prior to that, you said that he wouldn't, he would just stand or lay down, or, he just wouldn't move. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he was just hanging out under his trees, and, there's days that he wouldn't even walk. I mean, it was so sad. It just tore me up.
Oh, wow. Yeah, so now that you've, up to this point and seen the progress, he's feeling good and kind of running around and playing.
Yeah, he actually was playing with his 2 pasture mates out there right now.
That's awesome. So what, moving forward here, what future plans do you have for Diesel?
Well, I do want to be able to ride him again. Mm-hmm. I don't do any hard riding, just a little leisure walk around the neighborhood and up and down the streets. And a group of us every so often will ride down to the Shamrock restaurant and go have lunch or breakfast down there in the morning. So,
right.
That's nice to get the people's reaction when you pull up there on a horse and then they get up next to him and they go, wow, he's just huge.
Yeah, but that's quite a shock for some people.
Yes.
So awesome. Well, this is one of the questions I typically ask everybody that's on our podcast. And I know in your case, you were very skeptical about trying the product. And I know there's a lot of people out there that have just come across our website or our ads or listening to podcasts and kind of hearing and learning about Equinety for the first time. And as skeptical as you were, we might have some of those same people that are on the fence. What advice or things could you maybe let them know to go ahead and have them pull the trigger?
Well, what's one more product to try? And in my case, it couldn't hurt. So I made that step, got the sample. Just try the sample, because it's $24.99 is nothing compared to probably what you spent over the past years on products. Mm-hmm. Try it. Probably within 3 days, you'll see a big results. Yeah. In my case, it was like 2 days. Just to see him walk was amazing to me, and not be sore.
Yeah, that is definitely life-changing. And
yeah. Definitely.
And one of the great things with Equinety, it does start working within 24 hours. It's just a matter of what you can start seeing. And, just in this case, we've had some other cases where people are dealing with mystery lameness and they've run out of options. They're at their wit's end and everybody's scratching their head, and they tried a little sample tub and whammo bammo, within, less than a week, people are seeing some crazy things. Now, I always tell people this is not a miracle supplement, but it sure does some miraculous things. And, the odds of this working are on the very, very high side. So at $1 a day, I think it's we tried to price this at a very affordable, price point, so everybody and anybody could afford it. So, but,
Yep.
Yeah. Well, Roberta, thank you so much for joining us here on the Equinety Podcast and sharing your Equinety story. And when we get all this uploaded, and we'll post some pictures and some video of Diesel there so everybody can take a good look at him. And obviously it'll be a lot smaller than life size. But I really appreciate your time and sharing your Equinety story.
Oh, it's been a wonderful journey. As far as I'm concerned, that it's an awesome product, and I really would recommend it for anyone to try it.
Awesome.
Definitely.
Good deal. All right. Well, thank you so much, Roberta.
You're welcome, sir.
All right.
That's all for this episode of the Equinety Podcast. For more information on purchasing Equinety, be sure to visit our website at teamequinety.com, where you'll also find product information as well as more testimonials on how others have seen amazing results by implementing Equinety into their horse's supplement regime. We'll have more stories on how Equinety is helping horses worldwide right here on a future episode of the Equinety Podcast.